Welcome, 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 everyone. This is the first quarterly Q&A session of the year. I'm super excited to see what you guys have. These are always fun for me because I never know what I'm going to get. So if we can just please stick to cleaning related, I cannot help you with relationships or your taxes or
Mm.
like your divorce. I've had people ask me random stuff. I'm like, I can't, horse, equine care. I'm not fluent in any of that other stuff. So let's ask away. What questions do you have? No one's gonna go first?
So, I don't exactly have questions in mind, but I'm actually on here just to kind of learn from other people's questions or whatever.
Not a
I'm
problem.
sure, yeah, I'm sure that something will come up though. So,
Okay, perfect.
I'm sure a question will pop up soon from me, but
Absolutely. I'm going
uh,
to I'm gonna text Jamie really quick because she said she was going to show up when we spoke last night. Uh,
okay.
but yeah, ask away.
Hmm.
Yeah, I seem to have a lot of questions all the time. So,
Perfect. It's better than the uncomfortable silence, right?
Right.
well, yeah, but I have to think of like, okay, what are my questions? Now I'm on the spotlight here. I have to kind of think about what I actually need to learn, right?
Perfect.
um, I don't know. I mean, it's like when something comes up, it's just like I automatically ask. So it's like I have to think of what's been burning desire to know. Let's
Well,
see.
hopefully you have given price increases for your clients that you have. That's always the number one question at the end of the year is, I need to give a price increase. How do I do that? I try to make it simple for you guys so that you understand the process. I think that it can be scary the first couple times, right? Because you have anxiety because you don't want to lose the income. So on the same level, you have to do it. I mean, I don't care what they say, we're at 25% inflation. The math doesn't add up, and I am not an economist, but I'm just like, there is no way the inflation is at 8% or 7%, or I think they lowered it because I watch, right?
Mhm.
So if you have not given a price increase, and Eileen, you never have to give a price increase, yours is all corporate. Lucinda, if you don't know, I
Yeah.
is actually in charge of a really large, I don't want to say facility because that doesn't make it sound homey, but she has a huge senior community and a house cleaning staff that she manages here where I live. And so she has a different dynamic of the processes that happen. So she has to, usually if there's a change, it goes through corporate and the board.
Mhm.
So she's been doing it a long time. How long have you been doing it, Eileen?
Oh God, 24 years.
A long time,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Well, I'm
Yeah.
still new in the business, still trying to get on my feet and get going. That's where I'm at. So, I'm learning, sucking in all the information, and then I'm just trying to put that information to use. So, thank you for all of your awesome education.
Sure, no
So,
Yeah,
problem
it's
at all.
yeah. And
thank you,
then so that
Shannon. It's really
yeah.
helpful. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine.
So, Lucinda, what is your number one question?
Um, my number one question is I guess what is the best way to market organically, and how to get, is it organically, and is how to get going, like
Right.
without
Well,
investing a lot of money, even though I know that's important to put aside money once but like
could be ideal if, first of all, I feel that marketing is almost a college degree in itself. It's such a broad topic, right? And you can legitimately throw money at the wall and it won't stick. And then you get
yeah.
mad because then you throw more money at the wall and it doesn't stick then either.
Mm.
And then you're going back to the person who's supposed to be helping you and you're like, dude, why isn't this working? They're like, well, I put the ads out. And you're just like, well, I'm showing you two grand a month, right? That's what I paid for Google Leads all last year was 2 grand a month. I actually just reduced it down to the minimum. It's because I'm not seeing any ROI off of any. I get random phone calls from people who want just their bathroom clean. I'm like, we don't do just bathrooms. Or can you Can you wash out my trash cans? Random. So I'm like, I just paid $50 for this lead. And you want to know if I wash out trash cans. And I look back in my keywords to make sure that that doesn't say trash can washing, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't. So you have to, here comes Jamie. You have to layer your marketing, and it has to be on point to whoever your client avatar is. And I talk a lot about, here comes Alexandria, a lot about layering and marketing to that person that you are wanting to capture. And a lot of times when we're new in this industry, and I'm guilty of this too, right? We have an area called Prescott Lakes. There's, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million homes. And you're like, I want those guys. Those guys can obviously afford us. But what we don't realize is in our mind, we're like, yeah, they can afford it. In their mind, because they have a mortgage for a $5 million house, which is 40 grand a month, right? They're house poor. They can't afford the luxury of having house cleaning. So you have to find who your demographic is. Before COVID, for a decade, my demographic was seniors, retired seniors who came fresh off the boat from California. Money was not an issue for them. They had the extra, because our cost of living at that point was lower. What I didn't realize, and I had to scramble around and like claw back up, because when COVID hit, I had a bunch of seniors on my schedule who were absolutely terrified of the potential of that cootie coming in and getting them, right? And it was like the boogeyman. So they all dropped off the schedule within like 2 weeks. So then I had to figure out how I was going to restart everything and look for a different type of clientele. So right now, who I market to, yes, I still have seniors, but that's not who my demographic is. I don't focus on them. I get them by default because I'm house cleaning and they need me. But what I look for, my demographic, my client avatar, is the other small business owners. They're usually doing $1 million or more a year. They're empty nesters. The wife helps manage the business and does not want to manage the house. And that's who I look for. They're typically married, not retired, and they're still working. They don't have time to clean the house, and they have a lot of guests come over for dinners, for business or whatever. That's who I look for. I do right now have younger business owners, which is new to me. I've never had, the 28 to 32-year-olds who can afford to pay what I charge, right? So that's who I look for. What is your client avatar?
Yeah, pretty much that, because I know a lot of people in the community, and that I'm starting to network.
Mhm.
So I really like focusing on people that are professionals,
Mhm.
but then also that's the thing, because it's like you said, like, oh, can you clean my 5,000 square foot house? Well, I know that they have, like, okay, they have a business, but it's like, how do you, they make money, but then it's like, how do you know if that's they're doing the right thing in life to, like, like you said, like the professionals that are too busy,
Right.
like, I don't really want to clean the huge houses,
No, I don't
but
look for those. By default, I have them, but I like the homes that are 1,500 to 2,000 feet. That's actually what I look for. That's the
yeah,
size that's ideal for me. I know a cleaning tech can usually get in and out in 2 to 2.5 hours.
yes.
And
Yep.
that's my ideal size. I will
Hmm.
clean the 5,000 square feet house. I have 8 of them right now, but I don't like to clean them. They're a pain in the butt because the cleaning tech can't clean another house after. They're too tired. So I have
Yes.
to
Yeah.
make sure that that I'm charging enough to compensate for the fact that they're not going to be able to do a second house. Even the young ones who are 22 cannot do a second house. They're just too tired. It's a lot. It's a workout.
Right.
I've
So how
learned
do
that
you,
my
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
graphic is oh, you guys are breaking in and out. Can you guys hear me just
Yeah, we
fine?
can hear you.
Yeah. You guys keep freezing on me, but it's storming here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm out in my car. Everybody's still asleep. It's dark. I'm all running out to the car. My demographic, I've learned over the last, I don't know, year, that exactly what you said was saying, Shannon, that there is a demographic. And whenever I did my marketing for on the radio, I told them literally, I am trying to target overworked moms that are about 38 and older, that are professionals, and they're just overworked with young children. That's our demographic. And it worked. It worked. It's working for us.
Lucinda, you were saying something?
What was I saying?
We were talking about house size. So looking
Oh.
for the right size house makes your life easier.
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm solo, okay, for one, and I can't sit there for 8 hours and clean this 5,000 square foot home by myself. So yes, okay. What I was trying to get out in that question was, how do I get the house that's in that square footage, but then also how do I know, like, if they have like a little bit of a smaller house, they're still like the professional people like that have the money.
They'll usually tell you in the conversation, like the exact
Mm.
conversation I have when I'm doing it over the phone is, hi, my name is Shannon. I'm actually the owner. What's yours? And then they say, oh, my name is Mary. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mary. And I asked, the second question is because everybody has moved into the town. I'm like, are you living here in town full time? Because if they have, you know, a 702 or, you know, a different area code, there's 4 other Prescotts in the United States. So I need to make sure that they're calling me, right, the right one, and that they are
Mhm.
living in my area, because I don't want to have to facilitate, you know, distance cleaning in another state. I mean, I can, it's eventually on the plan, but it's not there yet. So, and then I'm like, so, you know, how can I help you? And they're like, well, I'm looking for cleaning. And they'll usually tell you right off, because women, we can be a little catty. No, I've had this house cleaner, she's not cleaning the way I want. Or I'm so busy, you know, my husband expects me to do this, this, and this, and we need to be able to figure out if we can afford this. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm happy to, you know, give you that information right over the phone. After I get all the stuff, I like say, okay, well, you know, I have availability, because I'm already looking at my schedule. You can hear me typing. And like, I have availability on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Would that work for you? Well, and then that gives them, I'm prompting them to close the sale, right? So, you know, they either bite or they don't bite. And then if they say yes, I'm like, okay, well, there's a couple things that you have to do to get on my schedule. And then I'm like, okay, I need your credit card information and the address and, you know, the bedrooms and blah, blah, blah. And hopefully I've already gotten that, but sometimes the conversation segues all over the place.
Mhm.
And then I have to say, okay, I'm going to send you this to, hi, Tristan's coming. I'm going to send this to you in a quote and you have to approve it,
Mhm.
which is new for me because I did it old school for forever. And I'm like, I can't, DocuSign's like $80 a month. I'm like, this is getting ridiculous. And you still only get like 16 envelopes. And if you have 27 clients that you're taking on every month, it can be expensive. So, so then you know, after they approve it, and it says in my little sheet, it says, you know, by accepting this bid, you approve the variance of price, you approve all these terms and conditions, and blah, blah, blah. I have not done on Jobber the signature. I haven't figured out how to make that go over. So I have an appointment with them this coming up week, and they're going to walk me through all the new features, because I don't spend a lot of time on Jobber to be knowledgeable enough to tell you guys anything other than what I've learned over the years, because I've had them for 8 years. I've not done anything with it.
I was trying to share my screen actually of Jobber, because you can set that up in there in
Yes.
Jobber.
Right.
So
And I just need someone to hold my hand the first time so I can
Yep.
figure, I don't want
And
to
then
have
you're
to
good.
get the wheel. I don't want to waste my time. Good morning. So that's just part of the process. And then I usually will find out in the conversation if they are the right fit. If they are not the right fit, I still bid them at the normal price. And if they take it, great. I find though that they'll only take it for a little while until they find a independent cleaner who without a license. And, you know, because it's a line item in your budget. I try to make people understand that, because people are like, I want house cleaning. And you see the query, it's like the toilet paper. Should the toilet paper be folded upside down or the other way? Well, or would you rather have a private chef or a cleaner? I'm gonna pick a cleaner every single time. It's like cleaners make my life easier.
Mm.
But it's not everybody has that mentality. So you're asking pointed questions to see if this person's going to be a good fit. But the 1,500 to 2,000 square feet is my ideal client that I'm looking for. We picked up 3 clients yesterday randomly. Just beginning of the year, I want to get cleaning. How much do you charge? I'm like, well, this is what I think it would be, and then there's the stipulation of, you give them a price and they go, well, I only want one time. I'm like, oh, one-time cleanings are more. And they're like, why? I'm like, because you need extra love that one time. So, it's just part of the process. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically through the questions, you'll kind of find out. And then this is getting really detailed, but like, what if basically you're finding out like, yeah, this is not like a house I want to take on, but you don't want to necessarily be rude or just say no to them. How do you, you
Sometimes
know?
people will say some offhanded things. And I will blatantly tell them, I don't think that you're a good fit for my business model. I recommend that you call Mary Maids or Molly Maids or whoever, whatever the corporate franchise entity is, and I will pass them along. If you and your gut always, and I cannot emphasize this enough because we had, what was it, last year or the year before, we had a member of our group who went to a post-construction cleaning. She was murdered on the job site. I don't remember her name, but it was upsetting. And I was like, I felt really bad if this person was cleaning by herself and someone went onto the job site and murdered her. So if you have an inkling that something isn't settling right, say no. It's okay to say no.
Yes.
You have a right to protect yourself. You have a right to protect your crew. Nobody ever wants to go to a job site after a horrendous crime like that ever happens. I unfortunately have had it happen when I was like an assistant manager at the MGM in Las Vegas. My son just went through a suicide at the Federal Express down in Tucson. And that was awful. So you just always protect what that gut is telling you. So you can politely say, I don't think you're going to be a good fit. And if they say, but, say, I'm really sorry. Here's the name. And you look on your computer. Here's the name and number of 5 other cleaning companies. Those guys will be a better suit. And then they can filter it out. And if you know them well enough, like I know almost all the cleaners in my area, I'm like, hey, you get a random call from this guy, just be cautious. He gave me weird vibes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not trying to select a demographic. I'm just trying to give someone a heads up that potentially to just go with your gut, right? If it suits them better, fine. But I just, you have a duty. It's called a duty to act. I've been in management for a long time. And if you see something that isn't quite right, it is your duty to act, not violently or angry or anything else. It's just, you're just giving everyone's a heads up. Hey, I just want to let you know that I talked to this person and I don't think that they're, all there or whatever. And we know in our industry, we've seen a lot. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of mental illness right now. I mean, I've never seen so many people who have PTSD or anxiety over this or that. I feel so bad. There's so many people who really need cleaning and it just isn't in the budget. It's not in the cards. But yes, you can say no. And it's okay.
Yeah. But what about like if they don't give you the creepy vibes, but then it's just like it's not your clients, like it's just not a house in general that you want.
You can just
How do
say,
you?
my schedule's really full. I can put you on the wait list. The first availability I have and it's January, is March 1st.
Yeah. So you kind of go through the questions and all that to find out about them, but then you say, okay, then you just say, okay, I'll take, instead of like taking their credit card on the spot, you just say, okay, I'm going to take a look at my schedule and kind of see if we have, okay. Yeah. I get
Because
it.
getting the
Okay.
credit card closes the sale, right?
Yes. Right.
Not getting the credit card doesn't close the sale. And they don't know, most people don't know that most cleaning companies now
Mhm.
are looking for either a partial payment, a deposit, or a credit card to secure their spot. If this isn't, cleaning isn't a hobby anymore. I know, and I say this all the time, I know more millionaires in this industry than in any other industry. This is a hot industry to be in. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff that has to be worked out. This cannot be a totally automated business right off the bat. There's a process to that, right? I spoke to a business owner the other day who sunk 150 grand because she went to another coach and they said they could automate it and she was down 150 grand. I felt really bad. It's just awful, right? It's you don't want to see anything like that happen.
Okay, hey, so I have a couple of people asking me how to get into here right now.
Okay. I don't see
I-
anybody.
Because they can't find the link. Oops. And I don't know how to send it to them. I'm trying.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna push you guys to the side. Maybe I can copy and paste it. And maybe I can put it into the chat. Let's see here. I don't want to end the meeting, but I do want to get into Zoom.
The
And
way that I found it was in the actual event, but under the discussion tab, and then there was the link. That's how I found it
okay,
Yeah,
well,
that's how I
on
saw it.
Facebook.
Look,
let's see.
look in events. Let's see if we can't do that.
Sorry, guys. It'll just take a second.
Yeah. I wonder, is it in my mail?
I just gave Chanel it. And then
Thanks.
Jamie, I'm gonna send it over to you and then you can just distribute it.
That's okay.
Here is the Zoom link right there. Is there anybody else getting contacted by anyone else that needs the Zoom link? No?
Nope. Yeah, I'm glad that you sent that over to.
There we go. So if you have
Okay.
anyone else asking you, just give them the link and they can get in.
Carry
Good.
on.
There we go. Okay, so that's what I would do with the process. You have a right to refuse service to anyone. I mean, the airlines seem to be getting a lot of shameful passengers, and I know flying can be stressful. It's not, especially if you have a fear of the plane crashing, it can be a whole different dynamic, and it just adds another layer, right? So yeah, you always, if you don't feel good about taking the client on, don't. Any other questions? No? No? Nothing? Come on, guys.
I am trying to figure out how, I know you said you don't know a lot about the signatures on Jobber, but
Right.
I'm starting to use it.
Oh,
And
awesome.
I sent out a couple of estimates through there, last few days, and I'm still trying to figure out like how to. I do have a service agreement, which is like, like 4 or 5 pages or whatever, with everything listed. And I'm just,
Mhm.
do you think I should like, if it's just for like one type of cleaning, should I just send all of them, excuse me, the whole thing to them? Because I really can't separate the whole agreement. They're not separated. I mean, they are on
You
pages,
should
but
have
it's like,
separate agreements for your regular maintenance, and then you should have another agreement for your one-time cleanings, your top to bottoms, and your move outs. It makes it easier for them to swallow and not get overwhelmed. So you
mhm.
should have 3 different agreements, right? Do you have 3 or just the one?
So I have like a welcome packet agreement, terms and agreement type of thing. And it's just
Okay.
paid, everything organized and like, and it comes out to like 4 or 5 pages, like all together. You just have to like read through them all,
Okay.
different like headlines and, like a little paragraph underneath about the topic.
Mhm.
So that's the thing. Yeah. It's just kind of like all one like huge document.
It can be a lot, especially
Mm.
with one-time cleanings. There's a lot to cover. My document is 11 pages long, and I always say, don't be intimidated by the length. We are we're a senior-based community, so the type is large, is usually what I say. You can also attach documents in the Jobber. I just haven't had a lot of luck because there's a file size. And not everyone's going to read through it. So I find that because I've experimented trying to make this easy on myself so I can explain to others, I just have been loading it into the client comment section. And I say at the bottom, when approving this, you agree to all the terms and conditions listed above. And that's what
Okay.
I've done so far. The reason why I'm looking for a signature is because if they try to dispute the charge through the credit card, I have a signature on file. Right? So a workaround, if you can't get the signature part to work, because I haven't figured it out, is you can have them snap a photo of the front and back of the credit card onto your phone, and you can print it out. And if they dispute it, you can say, well, this person sent me their credit card. So there is that, but I won't know all the dirty details until I meet up with Jobber. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I had a lot going on this week with sick kids and everything.
Oh, I completely understand. Yes. So like I would just be like adding it to a right now I've added it to like as an attachment, so then when I send it through Jobber, the email, like
Mhm.
I actually do put that in the comment section. I say like signature of this agreement, like basically like you paying, I don't remember how I worded it, but basically like you paying and signing it is agreeing to all the attached files.
Right.
So I don't know, that's all I've been doing so far, but I didn't know, trying to figure out like a better way. And then
It's
yeah.
just trial and error. It's not going to be perfect.
Mhm.
I used to, and I think I talked about this in the podcast. I legitimately had my agreements. I would send it over an email. They had to print it out, photograph it, and send it back. I mean, I made it really hard.
Mhm.
Thankfully, technology has evolved so much because I didn't have a way to, and short of showing up to their door, which I did not want to do, I had to figure out a way. So that's how I did it, right?
Yes. I'm just trying to make the process a little easier for the beginning for myself because I feel like I'm going to lose the client if I have to ask for all these extra steps because I'm
They're either
already
gonna do it or they're not. And I've had clients
okay.
go, it was really difficult, this part. I said, I know, we're working on it, but thanks for doing business with me. Not gonna change, sorry.
Mhm.
That's just the way it is. Does anyone else have any questions?
I actually do have a question.
Alexandria, how are you?
I'm okay. Not feeling the best, but I'm okay other than that. Um, I started running Facebook ads again, and I was getting a lot of hits on my website, and they'll go to like my get a quote. I just use a request form that's like connected to Jobber so I can get their information
Mhm.
and just send a quote, well, convert it over to a quote.
Uh-huh.
But I noticed people will go and like people will call and they'll ask for a quote. I send them over to my website, but it's like the number of people that actually fill out the form versus people who go to the page,
Right.
significantly different. And I don't know.
It's we're lazy. Unless we're such a society that's instantaneous. I mean, you can see it all over social media. It's that instant gratification, right? I got to feed my ego. Well, we're lazy on top of it, so we won't. If you tell me to go to your website to fill out the form and then I'll get back with you, I'm going to think you don't want my business, right? And in Facebook, they're little finicky fish, right? They kind of minnow over here and then they minnow over there and then they go back over here. And you still can't get them to go to the form to fill it out. So you just have to, hey, can you private message me? I would love to chat with you over the phone about this.
I
Okay.
noticed that. I also noticed that with Facebook, if you go into your settings for advertising
Mhm.
or advertisement, and instead of having them, if they click on your Facebook ad, it instantly pops up a bot, and you can have your website linked right to it, and you can have it your lead. They automatically can put in all their information, their email address, everything, their phone number, and
Perfect.
or
I'll have
they
to
can
get together with her. Maybe you can walk her through the process.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
familiar with the girl.
I will tell you though that Google, I know it's a lot more expensive, but I did cap mine at $300 a month, so you can cap it.
For your
I
Google?
got yes with
Yeah.
Google, you can
I
cap
was
it.
doing $2,000 and I wasn't seeing any ROI. I'm like, this is not worth it.
Well, what was neat was my friend, she was playing Angry Birds. I think it's linked to Facebook, so I don't know. She was playing Angry Birds and my ad popped up. She goes, "Look how cool this is." I was like, so while she was gaming, she got my ad. So my ad is out there, not very much because I'm only at like $300 a month, right?
Mhm.
But it is out there. I'll have to I wonder if I can screenshot it and show you guys, because she sent me it via Messenger. It was really cool. I thought it was neat. And you can set your Google optimization to AI, and then it'll let you, it'll pick for you however, you know, what they think would work best for this area or your area. There it is. Here it is. Let me see if I can't.
Okay, so while she's getting that, Chanel asks, what happens if your year's deductions are over 20%? You can only take a certain percentage, and after that you have to roll over your deductions. I can't remember the name of what it's called off the top of my head. It's and if it's a big purchase, you can usually I don't want to say antiquated, you can break it into payments and take the deduction 1 year, take another deduction the second year, and that type of thing. So there, I would just, Chanel, did you plug in all your stuff? Are you doing it yourself, or is someone doing it for you? Jamie put her thing right here where she shows how her ad came up, if you guys want to check the chat. Oh, maybe Chanel dropped off. All right, Tristan, do you have any, or Ashley, do you have any questions?
I do have a question. So I've been trying to think, I've been trying to think outside of the box, lately since, like, I'm gonna say the last 2 weeks. I've had a handful of people say, you know, I have to scale back. I need to modify my cleaning schedule. My husband got laid off. You know, everybody's being affected by the economy. So I'm just trying to think of outside the box, like, how can because I don't really have a lot of, I don't have a whole lot of people coming to me right now for estimates. So I was trying to think of like ways to get new customers. Like I did print out flyers.
Okay.
And I'm gonna like go to some of like my neighborhoods that I already clean in and just put them at their doors. But like I'm trying to think, like, is there something else that's like, you know, cheaper, on the cheaper end, so I don't have to pay so much to like advertise?
First and foremost,
I do use
taking
Facebook a
out
lot.
flyers. Go ahead.
I do use Facebook a lot. Like I go into the groups and stuff.
Okay. And they're starting to hammer down on some of the Facebook posts in the larger groups. And they're gonna, I think at some point they're gonna start charging because people are complaining. So be prepared for that. If you are dropping off flyers in person, make sure you do not have to have a peddler's permit. You can get a huge fine for that. And that usually comes with your licensing. So typically some cities, if you already have a license, will give you a peddler's permit, so you can drop off and always label it as a few flyers. They don't want you going out there and dropping off thousands. I'm looking at you, you're in your car, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a logo on the back of your window?
I don't, not yet.
It's the cheapest form of advertisement you can get, because you're constantly in front of people and they will see your ad, and you can get a QR code and people can beam it with their phone, go right to your website. If you have a booking form, they can, you know, sign up right there if they want to. Those types of things.
That's a good idea.
And then if you have people who are stepping off your schedule, you can renegotiate what gets cleaned and what does not, if that helps them. Say, I completely understand the economy is pinching everybody. I can offer you a lesser clean for the same amount of money. If that is something you're interested in, let me know. And you can break down the house. Maybe the bedrooms and some of the bathrooms are on rotation. If it's like bi-weekly and it's not, you know, totally hard to clean, those are options as well. Most of the houses here are like 1, 2, and 3 levels. So sometimes we'll just do the one level one time and the other level the second time. We've done that to try to curve the pinch of the inflation. I called it the inflation special. It's like, so that they kind of know that they're getting a deal, and that, you know, so that kind of keeps them on a little longer. They do eventually drop off, because if they can't afford it, they can't afford it. Any other questions?
Thank you.
No problem. Tristan, do you have any questions?
She did ask, how do you get a QR code? And I told her to go on to Canva. You can go on to Canva. There are other sites that you can go on to, but Canva is kind of what we use.
You can't go to Canva, Vistaprint. There is another place that offers them for free, and I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. It's upstairs on the computer up there. But yeah,
Yeah.
QR codes, and you have to make sure that if you get a free QR code, what I have found out, because I've had this happen in my advertisement, is I go and I launch it on a print ad, and then I go to check it before I send it over, and it doesn't work. I'm like, oh, I would have paid, and they wouldn't have been able to do it. So make sure your QR code is legit and that will work forever.
Yes, this happened to me yesterday. I got a notification saying that somebody had scanned my code,
Mhm.
but I have to upgrade for it to work.
Right.
I
That's
was like,
something I'm
what?
oh,
So now I only put the flyer up like a week ago, and luckily I only could find one grocery store that I could put it in. So I could just easily swap it and just go swap it out. But yes, I just experienced this yesterday. So I'll be doing that today, upgrading that.
definitely.
But yeah, I'm trying to find, do you know, have it besides like networking events and stuff? Is there anywhere else that we can just simply hang flyers? Because I'm finding a hard time trying to find places to do that.
So I usually will make I live in a smaller town, and we actually, believe it or not, have bulletin boards still to this day in 2024. So you
Mm.
can a lot of places have bulletin boards, and it's more of the rural like type things, like feed stores, pet stores, the fabric store. We were in there and they had a bulletin board, so we slapped something up there. Any restaurant that has a bulletin board, I would definitely put
Oh.
there, and just constantly put them out. But it's, if you make them shiny instead of just a flyer, no one likes a flyer because they take a lot of space.
Mhm.
I would do either a 4x6 postcard, or something more like shiny and bright, because people are attracted to that. Like our Noah's Bagel here, or is it Einstein's Bagel, has a bulletin board, and every time I go in there to get bagels, I plop another business card there. We used to have a huge one at our Fry's, which is like a Safeway. They took that down, but it was huge. It was like the side of a whole wall, and there were thousands and thousands of bulletin board posts in there for sure.
Okay. Yeah, restaurants, I didn't think of that. So
Yeah,
we
like
have a lot of like high dining type of restaurants here, so they don't really have that kind of stuff, but
the mom
they
and
took
pop
down,
diners will.
yeah, they in our city they just like tore that one down.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I have to get creative here. It's they're turning it into kind of like a high class city here. So all those mom and pop shops are going.
That's unfortunate, because that really impacts your economy.
That's yeah, it's like yeah, they're putting lots of fancy, restaurants. It's all about that kind of stuff downtown. So I have to think about that. Yeah, because like some places, if you're profiting off of it, they don't want for some reason you to
They don't
post
want
it.
to help something out unless it's a non-for-profit, like Starbucks. You can't post anything in a Starbucks unless it's a community event. But there are other coffee shops that have bulletin boards that I've posted on. There's Taco Don's is a small little dive restaurant, and there's a huge bulletin board there. It just
Yeah, I'm just
depends
kind
on the location and what's going on, but look
of
for them.
right. I could go outside the city too and post, and that way, because people travel, so I mean that makes sense. So I could do
But
that.
a logo on the back of your car is the easiest way. It's the most
Yes.
easiest way to do it.
Do you think Vistaprint, or like where do you think is because if you upload if they make the design for you, it's like 100, more expensive, but if you do it, it's like cheaper.
It can be cheaper, but you're gonna put your time into it. I'd rather have a professional who does it all the time. It'll take them 30 minutes versus the 5 hours it will take you to get that logo on the back of your car. It's like not worth it to me. I'm like, oh, I'll just pay.
Yeah.
It depends on where you are. You know what I mean? I would just pay, or you can trade house cleaning. For
Oh, like a local place here.
Find someone local, and see
Possibly.
if they'll trade part housekeeping for, and it's dollar for dollar. So if the logo is $400 and you trade $400 in cleaning, and it's one time cleaning, it's not, I'm gonna give you 5 cleanings until it equals $400. It's a one and done thing. Any other questions? Nope, it looks like Chanel has dropped off. Any other questions at all?
I have another quick question. Okay, so it's kind of more of a broader, more in-depth thing, but it's just, I'm gonna throw it out there. So my daughter, it's really funny because she just got a job like working like for a cleaning company, just for a random job. She's younger, like 20, she's 22. I was like, oh, okay. She's just kind of finding her way. And so I'm asking her some questions and stuff, see what's going on there. But like if I kind of get going on this and like say, hey, do you want to come do this with me? Do you think that's a bright idea to like have her, if she's interested and motivated, to be like help me out in the business? Or is that more of a partnership, or should I just like pay her like a little bit of money to be like kind of an employee?
My son worked with me from the time he was 12 until he left for college. It was actually, he liked it because he always had cash, where his friends didn't have anything because his friends never worked. So I believe he worked until he was, I want to say 18 or 19. When he left for college, that was, but he would handle large commercial jobs with crews for me because he had learned how to do that. But yeah, you could totally do that. In certain instances, you can write off income of your son or daughter. I believe it's up to $12,000 that you don't have to pay taxes on. So look into your accountant to see if that's applicable to you or not.
Yes. And do I need to make them like an employee, like
You
W-2
can just
type
pay
of?
them cash and 1099 them because they're family members. But
Yeah.
definitely look into what those laws are. I am not, the labor laws change so much from year to year, from state to state. I could not be versed on every single entity. So definitely check. Your accountant should know.
Mhm.
Your bookkeeper isn't going to know because they're going to manage your books, but I would definitely check with your Department of Labor and do a little digging. But yeah, you should be fine. I mean, don't take what I say as gospel, but do your due diligence.
Yeah, thank you. I just didn't, it's just something that I was thinking about. So yeah.
Oh no, I would snatch her
Yeah.
up so you can have help. She can go work jobs for you
Yeah.
after she gets trained by the other
Well,
cleaning company.
exactly. It's so
Oh.
funny because she's just told me that the place that she worked like 3 jobs so far for, they made her go on hands and knees to mop the kitchen floor. I said, you're gonna kill your back doing that. And how could they?
Right. I used to do that. I'm guilty. I'm guilty as charged way back when, over a decade ago. I no longer do that. We mop everything and it's all about speed. It's not about, that perfection. You can't offer perfection and you can't scale if you're offering perfection.
Right. Okay. Yes. That's what I was kind of telling her. I'm like, well,
Amen. Preach. Yes.
Any other questions?
We used to do the hands and knees mopping too.
Oh yeah?
And yeah, and it was because we work in a senior community, we do about between 6 and 8 rooms a day. And this is before I became supervisor. Well, so when you're doing a kitchen in the bathroom, so if you're doing a kitchen in the bathroom, you're looking at between 12 to 14 times a day. You're up and down on your hands and knees.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I don't know why, I think that my former supervisor, the reason why she did that is because she wanted to make sure the bottom of the toilets were getting clean. We could go ahead and do the baseboards while we're down there. But really, I noticed, because my mom worked with me, I started noticing after years of me being a supervisor that I'm like, and I noticed she started limping a little. I'm like, this isn't, something's not right. Well, then I noticed when I did it once, as I started getting older, I kind of pulled the muscle kind of towards my thigh. And I was like, yeah. So then I started realizing this may not be healthy for everyone, And because I started supervising in my late 20s though. So it didn't affect me much at first until a little bit later on. So then I started Googling and started realizing that it's bad for your knees, it's bad for your hips, that constant up and down motion,
Right.
doing that, 12 times a day for all the days that you work, it gets to be really bad. It causes arthritis and stuff. So we ended up discovering different kind of mops that we can use. And I actually talked my boss into letting us do that. And she's like, yeah, go ahead. Let's just do that. So now I just started to discover different tools to go ahead and make their jobs more pleasant and a little more easier for them. And it seems to be working. But no, I understand what you're saying. Hands and knees is just not the best way for your body. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's
Anyways, that's all I had to say.
I have a question.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm so sick with COVID. So if I sneeze, I apologize. But we're brand new and our very first client is a Airbnb. And I feel like we kind of undercharged her. It's a 4-bedroom like house with 2 bathrooms, a sunroom. And we're also responsible for the linens and towels. And I kind of threw that in at the last moment. Well, now she's given me a couple of other leads. The next person that I go see next week, I had to cancel because obviously I'm sick. But I go see him next week. It's her brother. And I'm a little nervous because this is a lived-in home. And I'm pretty sure she probably told him how great of a deal I gave her. And then she's also going to connect me with her realtor so I can get more Airbnbs because we live in a rural lake town. So we're really busy in the summertime. My question is how do I juggle pricing when people know one another or their family members or they heard about the good deal that I gave them?
I always tell them not to tell. Like I point blank say, I'm like, I'm giving you a great price. And if you go around and tell everybody how great of a price I gave you, I will deny it. And then they'll snicker and laugh, but the point is made.
Yeah.
And the reason why is, I don't know what the price is that you're getting on this, but it probably isn't enough. And that has a lot to do with the mentality of that industry. It's really frustrating, because you can get stuck there doing laundry forever, right?
Yeah, and that's my fear now is like I wish I didn't suggest that I would even offer the laundry, but she lives 2 hours away. So like the whole point of her hiring us was so that she didn't have to come down and clean the home by herself. And then she even offered like, oh, I'll come down and just do the laundry. And I was like, well, that defeats the whole purpose because if her clients are leaving at 10 a.m. on a Monday and then she has new clients coming in at 4 on that same Monday, you're not going to have enough time and I'm not going to have enough time to clean, or we're going to be stepping over each other. So it kind of defeated the purpose. So I was just like, oh, I'll just do the laundry while I'm here. Well, when we went in, my husband and I are doing this together. And when we went in, it took us, there was a lot of more deep cleaning that I was doing. But again, the house is not like it's permanently lived in. So it wasn't terrible. But my fear is just that from here on out, with all the leads that she is giving me, that she's just going to tell everybody that, oh, she cleaned my windows, or, oh, she's doing my laundry. And I'm going to be, they're going to expect a $175 price when really it's $250 worth of work.
Right. Well, as with any property that you take on, we usually make it a requirement that they have an initial cleaning and we bill them accordingly. It's
Okay.
not your fault or your problem to catch a property up because they made a bad decision. As far as laundry, it sounds like she might be a new host. She should have at least two sets of everything. So if you need to pull off the property and do the laundry at your house or the laundromat, you can do so that you're not forced to wait around and especially if they have energy efficient, that can take a whole hour and a half to get one load dried.
Right.
So that's where you eat up your money. And then on top of that, how many beds are in the 4 bedrooms, 2 baths?
Oh God, the house sleeps like 10 people. So there's like a bunk bed, there's a queen, there's another queen, there's a king, and then there's a twin bed.
Okay. So it sounds to me like that's way undercharged, but
Okay.
I would just stick with it for now because you have income coming in, but you'll never
Right.
be able to scale with that house. And you're not obligated to give her anything extra because she's giving you referrals. Just thank her.
Yeah.
And if she wants to offer you the house, then I would give her a discount off the house, but not the STR because your margins are already too thin.
Right. I appreciate it.
But that's what I would do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Dun, da, 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 da. No?
Shannon, I have a question. So I initially was doing like promoting, like, okay, I have to do like an initial clean,
Mhm.
which would be like the deep clean. Okay. But then I really wasn't getting, I was getting a lot of denials, oh, that's too much the first time,
Mhm.
all that. And I was like, so thinking about it, and I'm like, well, starting off, it's just me anyway. So like, do I really want to be at a house for 8 hours or whatever? Is there any other way I can like, just get going? Like, like as far as like first time or first 3 cleans would be like just more than a maintenance clean and just focus on certain areas of the house first and like explain that to them.
It depends on budgeting. When I was new and they couldn't afford the deep cleaning, I would deep clean sections of the house with the
Mhm.
understanding that this section of the house would get deep cleaned and then I'd give the rest of it a quickie until I caught the house up. So that way they could afford the extra time in their budget. So instead of being 150 a cleaning, it would be 225 and I would do extra things to get the house caught up. And then when they got the house caught up, then I would, decide what the price was going to be. um it's an interesting dynamic because if you're solo, you should only really take on enough work that you can do in a day. Psychologically, if you have to pick what that's going to be, because if you get to a certain point in the house and you've been there 8 hours and you haven't explained that it's going to be a 2-time, like we're going, I have to go visit a house on Friday. And because I walked in because I was concerned, she had explained she needed some special care. And I'm like, this isn't going to be a one and done. I go, you need 2 or 3 really hard deep cleanings. And she agreed to that with the understanding, because she really did need, it took 50, she lives in 1,000 square foot condo and it took 56 buckets of water to get that floor. And it wasn't even the whole floor. I was like, oh my gosh. So the poor girls were tired at the end of that one. But it's a psychological thing. So for example, if you go in and you are solo, I would do 1 layer at a time, but I would split the house in half. But if you do 1 layer, then more than likely they won't allow you to come in and do the deep cleaning of the second layer because they will have discussed it and they're already going to have sticker shock. So you have to pick key parts of the house that you're going to do, but not so much that you can't get the second day. Does that make sense? That's what I found. So if you send in a solo and they can't finish the house in 8 hours and it actually needs 12 to 16 hours, whatever you leave left over, more than likely they will not allow you to come in the second time.
Right. So if it's just me going, in, I mean, is it good to just to say like this, yeah, like raise the price higher,
Mhm.
but then say I'm going to do this because I have checklists, like,
Right.
that I usually send them. This is what I'm going to be doing for, maintenance cleaning or whatnot. So I do have a top to bottom deluxe maintenance checklist as well. So do you recommend me letting them know, like just giving that all to them and say, I'm going to do this, but then I'm going to add on
Mhm.
or whatever, add
You
certain
can do
areas
it
of the
that way,
house. I don't
but
know. It's like,
just know that more than likely, if you tell someone that they need to have 2 cleanings, they're gonna either fall through and not commit to the second cleaning. And they're gonna, so it's all about communication.
yeah.
And that's been my experience in the past. So if the solar cleaner only gets to a certain point in the house, they won't allow the person to come back the second time on the following day. So it's in your best interest to hire someone who is somewhat familiar that can help you to finish the house. You will end up doing most of the work because more than likely the person that's with you has no clue what they're doing. So you have to give them grunt work, right? You can do the baseboards, right? So you gotta get, so that way you have more of a chance to finish the job and not have to take the chance on them thinking about it and not completing the job.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because then it makes them having to commit to several visits.
Right. And then
Off the
sometimes
bat,
you do
but-
have little old couples who are like, I understand my house is really bad and I can afford this much per cleaning. Can we work on that? And you'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, because I was thinking more of like the sticker shock for people when I say, oh, it's gonna be, $500 for the deep clean, the first initial cleaning. They're like, no, it's very expensive. My house is not that dirty, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, they get insulted.
Yeah, and they take
How
it
dare you? My
personally.
house doesn't need that.
So yeah, exactly. And so like I was like just trying to brainstorm, like, well, yeah, it really can't be like there for 8 hours anyway. So maybe
No.
I could just say it's a higher deep clean, like not maintenance, just I don't know. That's
I would look for
Trying-
somebody, and then that way you can get, if you work 6 hours, your little is opening the door, waiting to see if
yes,
you're done.
they're getting impatient.
I can hear mine upstairs. So this will be the last one. So
Okay.
what you can do is have someone come in and you guys can both work 12 hours and hope for the best. Most deep cleanings fall within the 12 to 20 hour spectrum, whether they need it or not. That's just what it is for the normal size home. The larger homes, it can take anywhere from 30 to 45 hours to do a top to bottom. So you have to, have a second or third person in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That will, if no one else has any, I have to go upstairs, feed my kids really quick, and then I have to get on another meeting right after this. So if you guys don't have any other questions? Nope. I shall see those of you in the second meeting if you are coming. And you guys take care. Thanks so much for showing up.
Bye,
Thank you,
Shannon.
Shannon.
See you in a minute.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.